Plunge District Municipal Public Library. Plunge District Municipal Public Library is a public library located in the town of Plunge, County of Telšiai, Samogitian Region, Lithuania. The library has branches around the town and in nearby villages. The current library is located in a historical building in Plunge Park. History. Zubov's era. After Third Partition of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which occurred in 1795, Catherine Roman II, the ruler of the Russian Empire, for loyalty to the Tsar's throne and zealous service, offered 170,000 acres of land to Platon Zubov 1767–1822, who was one of the initiators of the two nations' partition. 1806 Count Platon Zubov bought the Plunge estate with the surrounding buildings from Vykentage Potocki. Thus, the period of Zubovi ruling in Plunge began, and it lasted 67 years, 1806–1873. The documents, recorded memories, stories, and legends of this period have remained up to now. Platon Zubov ruled Plunge until his death in 1822. The only legitimate heir to Platon Zubov, daughter Alexandra 1822–1824, who was born after his death, Platon's relatives did not agree that a large inheritance of the count would accrue only to his wife. Accordingly, the assets were distributed among Platon Zubov's brothers and their children. In the absence of historical sources, it is very difficult to figure out who in Zubov's family inherited Plunge's estates after the death of Platon. Well-known documents of the archives are sparse, and the secondary sources contradictory. So far it has remained unclear whether all Plunge possessions inherited from Platon went to one heir, or whether they were distributed among a few family representatives. In the Zubovi family genealogical tree diagram, there are two possible versions of ruling Plunge possessions after the death of Platon Zubov, i.e. during the period from 1822 until 1873, when his brother Alexander's son Platon Alexandrovich Zubov 1835–1890 sold the Plunge estate to Duke Mykolas Oginsky's Michael Oginsky. One of the genealogical tree branches belongs to Platon Zubov's brother Nicholas 1763–1805, who in 1822 was already dead. Thus, the Plunge estate lands might have been inherited by his son Platon's nephew Alexander 1797–1875, and later the latter's son Platon Alexandrovich 1835–1890. Another branch shows that after the death of Platon Zubov, Plunge possessions could have been accrued to his brother Dmitry 1764–1836, and then to Dmitry's son Nicholas 1801–1871. Castle Tower. In the 19th century, the ruling period of Counts Zubovi was very important for Lithuania. Many representational and ceremonial buildings were constructed, roads were repaired, business was flourishing, and educational and cultural institutions were established. Apparently, the Zubovi family, who had many lands in other places of Lithuania, was not residing in Plunge. They used to come here on business and built several buildings. A belfry of the church, All Saints Chapel in the old cemetery of Plunge, Italian-style Romantic Neo-Gothic-style castle villa conservatory in Plunge Park built by Zubovi have remained until today. The castle stands in the southern part of the park, about 300 meters away from the central palace. It was built in the middle of the 19th century during the Romantic period, when in the whole of Europe there was a tendency to follow the Middle Ages. It has a tower of 12 m in height, with a clock visible from all four sides. The clock has a very rare and unique anchor mechanism created by Parisian clockmaker Z.L. Ament in 1741. Because of this clock, earlier the townspeople called it Dziegorine, later on and now Lake Radine Clock Tower. On the south side of the clock's foundations, there is a record with the date 1846. It is the oldest still extant building of the Plunge estate and the oldest known stone building in the whole of Plunge. This date indicates that the castle clock tower was built during the period of Zubov ruling. According to the archaeological research, it was found that the castle was built on top of the foundations of another much older representative building in the 17th century, a large five-room, U-shaped manor ensemble. In the middle of the 19th century, next to the castle clock tower, a greenhouse was built. Archaeologists have found that the northern and eastern stone walls of the former 17th century building were used for building the northern walls of the castle and greenhouse, and also for building the eastern wall of the conservatory's stove. The foundation of the old building middle wall was used to build the southern walls of the castle and conservatory. The castle clock tower is similar to the Palazzo Vecchio Palace in Florence. It's like a small copy of this palace. The construction of the Palazzo Vecchio Palace by the Italian architect Arnolfo di Cambio 1245–1302 began in 1299. Documents still have not revealed why the castle of such construction was built in Plunge, and which member of the Zubov family had decided to build it. However, memories of the Zubov family representatives were recorded. Vladimir Zubov 1909–2007 wrote that Nicholas Dimitrievich Zubov 1801–1871 had built a small Italian-style castle for his wife Alexandra de Raymond de Montmorin in 1807–1839, who came from Marquis de Modena family and was born in Petersburg. Her father was Frenchman Gabriel 1774–1833, who was born in Paris and worked as an aubergine master. In 1873, Duke Mykolas Oginskis bought the Plunge estate with a nice castle clock tower in the park from Count Platon Alexandrovich Zubov. Oginskis used the castle of Zubovai as a gardener's office and greenhouse. On the ground floor there lived a gardener, and on the first floor a clockmaker. Therefore, during the period of Oginsky ruling, the castle was sometimes referred to as a gardener's house or greenhouse. The clock tower via a balcony was attached to another smaller building, next to which there was an extension, summer greenhouse, a large room separated with a glass wall. Flowers and vegetables grew in a close. Exotic plants used to be grown there: palms, grapes, pineapples. War and post-war periods. During the interwar period, the Second World War and post-war years, the building was primarily used as accommodation. The remains of the conservatory were being gradually turned into greenhouses. At this time, the castle tower's clock had already stopped working. During the Soviet Union period, the Young Pioneers organization was established in the castle. When Lithuania regained its independence, the facilities were closed and abandoned, leading to believe that this unique building was doomed to collapse. It was only until the proposal of a new site for Plunge Municipal Library that the clock tower castle was on the right path to serve a new purpose for the community. Various campaigns were held in order to make the dream come true. In 2011, the castle tower's clock was restored by metal restorer Tadeusz's Kavaxes. In October 2012, restoration and reconstruction work in the castle clock tower was finished, and Plunge District Municipal Public Library moved to the new building. Branch libraries. Currently, Plunge District Municipal Public Library has branches in the following locations: European Voluntary Service. Plunge Library has been actively participating in programs such as Erasmus Plus and National Volunteering. Volunteers make a remarkable contribution to the library, and they perfectly precede their given tasks. Meeting and greeting library customers. Helping and preparing various events within the library. learning Lithuanian language, meeting with non-governmental organizations, gaining knowledge and awareness about history, culture, heritage of Plunge region, self-realization, and many other creative tasks if they like. References